Hi, I'm Scott Strange, and this is the wave function from Templodevices, an analog optical tremolo with a few surprises. Now to start off, it's pretty standard controls. Input on the right, output on the left, 9 volt center positive standard pedal supply power. This is the bypass button. When you hit it, we've got a smooth optical tremolo with your standard speed control and depth, which sets how obvious it is. Now there's a few other controls on this unit, the most straightforward being either a triangle or a square wave. That's a triangle wave, and that's a square wave. The square wave is just a hard off-on, off-on. And we'll see with the symmetry pot, the symmetry decides how much of the time the wave is off and how much it's on. When it's all the way to the right, it's mostly on with little quick offs, like this. In the middle, they should be about evenly on and off. And all the way to the left is mostly off, and it just turns on briefly for a pulsing effect. You can hear that a lot more obviously with the square. Like that. Now, to get a little bit fancier, we have a ramp control. The ramp decides whether it goes on and off in a smooth, even fashion or uneven fashion. So in the center position of the ramp switch, we have an even rise and fall. When you turn it to the right, it quickly goes on and slowly fades off, which we can do this here with the and on the other side, it slowly turns on and quickly turns off. Which gives an almost reverse delay kind of sound, which is really interesting. Now, we'll put this back to more of a standard sound, a triangle wave, no ramp, even symmetry. I'll do this. And now here's an interesting function that I've added, the half switch. So this is a very old optical tremolo circuit. That was one of the first ones I ever put together. And I thought, if I'm going to put out this pedal, I need to bring something new to it. And one of those features that I added is this half foot switch right here. So with this button pushed down in latch mode, this half foot switch halves the time or the frequency of the LFO. Which can get you some really interesting effects when you're playing because it'll still fit the music. And depending on which state you start in, if you set your speed at the fastest one, that'll be half. However, if you leave it at half and set your speed from there, when you hit the switch, it'll be double. So depending on how you want to use it, you can get two functions out of it or jump back and forth between the two. And so another feature that I've added is if you release this latch switch, so if it's in the up position, now this half foot switch slowly fades down the speed of the tremolo at a preset rate. And when you release, it jumps back up to where it was. So that's all analog. It took me a while to figure out how to do that. There's actually another LED inside that slowly fades and controls the speed at which it fades. It's a whole thing. Now the final feature I added to this circuit is the follow function, and that's this switch right here. So when you turn it on, what it does is when you strike a loud note, it will temporarily pause the oscillation of the tremolo, and it'll fade back in as the note fades out, like this. It depends on the guitar and it depends on what you have in front. If you have a boost in front of this, it'll hit it harder. So it's kind of interactive with that stuff. And again, this is all analog. It took me forever to figure out how to do that stuff, but I'm really happy with the result. It's a really smooth sounding tremolo, and it's one that I'm going to have on my board right next to the Real Deluxe. If I had to have two things on a desert island, it would be this and the Real Deluxe to get the tones that I like. and maybe the spring tank in the Nomad. Those three, and I can get all the tones that I like. So this is the new pedal, the Wave Function. Give it a try. I hope you like it. It's one of my favorites, and it's available now.